Right, let's. All right. Uh, I would like to start talking about another important period, another lecture that is part of our syllabi. It is the Renaissance. We know that the Renaissance had been a very, or is considered in European history as a major step in the historical evolution the European history. Why? Because it was a time for let's say progress that was noticed by the Europeans after the long series of the Dark Ages taking place in Europe after the fall of the Roman Empire. I just would like to all right, concerning the Middle Ages, I would like just to talk shortly about the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages, commonly known as the Dark Ages, all right, that took place in Europe after the fall of the Roman Empire and on the eve of the Renaissance. Generally speaking, generally, or especially from 1400 AD to 1400 AD. The Middle Ages is characterized by, let's say, political strength of the period in which political strength of the European monarchs that declined, in contrast to the power of the church that rose. And the power during this period, the Roman Catholic Church controlled the political, religious, social, and cultural arenas. It is also worth to mention that during the Middle Ages, Europe suffered political turmoil with a lot of attacks, and diseases, such as Black Death. Also, what characterized Europe in the Middle times was feudalism. Feudalism was both economic and political and social system shaped Europe. That was the basic governmental structure and society of Europe. Okay. So what is meant by feudalism? Feudalism, as I said, was a system of governments that was based on land tenure, right? So lands were granted in return for services. So the country, according to feudalism, the country was divided into small communities, which were around fields and the manor, which was a center of life during the Middle Ages, meaning that every community, every city was manor. So the manor contained, let's say, the living place of the lord, of the nobles, and he had a small government. He had a small government or a small administration, having knights, vassals, having priests, nuns, having also peasants, craftsmen, and so on. So all all lived basically on the manor. All right. Ideologically, at that remote times, the European societies were divided into, or feudalism viewed society as follows: as a human skeleton, as a human being, and that human being, which composed or comprised of the people who thought and ruled, and the people who worked, meaning that society was shaped like a human being, having head, having hands, and having feet. So the head resembled the people who thought and who ruled. These were the kings, the lords, and the bishops. The hands, the people who fought for the people who ruled, for the kings, for lords and bishops. These were the knights of the military. And then the people who worked, comprising the feet of that human being, were the peasants. All right. Generally speaking, society was, or social structure at that remote times, comprised of, or consisted of, on top. We have on top the kings. All right. So the king comprised the upper class. A king was regarded as a master of all the lands of the country. So he gave the lands to nobles because they provided him with taxes. They used to collect taxes from the peasants and the craftsmen and the freemen, and handed the taxes to the king. The nobles, in return, were granted lands by the king, by kings, and the nobles had vassals. So the vassal was a small lord or a minor lord who kept, or who was, let's say, who was responsible for the arrangements, for the government of the manor. All right. Then we have the knights. Then we have the knights. Then we have the merchants, the craftsmen, and the freemen. And then at last we have the peasants and the farmers. So that was the structure of the European societies or communities during the Middle Ages. Okay, the situation would not last for a long time because of a new creative spirit that arose while following the Middle Ages. Generally speaking, it was after the Black Death, that great plague, sorry, which ravaged the European society. So people kept suffering, all right, kept suffering, and then this kind of a spirit was, let's say, was characterized in the following question. So people or human beings at that remote times start asking questions. So the main question was, I did everything the church told me to do, but the church did not solve my problem, did not help me, did not stop me enduring sufferings. So the situation had to change. So the church could not prevent me, was unable to prevent wars, was unable to protect me, and was unable to help me escape the Black Death. So here they started questioning the effectiveness of the church. Okay, and then from this, right, from that time, people started, let's say, looking for other forms. People started looking for other ways, other forms to rebuild their societies, because they were living in the dark ages compared to other societies, such as the Islamic societies, or the Muslim, or the Arab societies, or the Muslims, or the Muslim ones at the remote times. It is worth to mention also that Renaissance started from northern Italy, especially from northern Italy, and from northern Italy, people would, let's say, people would focus on would, let's say, concentrate on learning, on, let's say, on learning the classics of the old Roman and the Romans and the Greeks. I'll be talking about the reasons why northern Italy witnessed the Renaissance at the remote times, and then they started enjoying art or artistic productions at the remote times. So the men of the Renaissance did not only affect did not only affect their let's say their own societies. I mean, northern Italy with only the those Renaissance men would and the women would only let's say influence their citizens or their societies in northern let's say in northern Italy, but they would or the impacts of their works would go beyond northern Italy. They would reach northern Europe, right? So what is meant by the Renaissance to start with? Renaissance is a word of French origins, which means rebirth. Renaissance means achieving progress, all right? It means a revival of art and learning, all right? It was basically worldly, means that Renaissance, people started looking for other non-religious aspects, relying on other non-religious aspects of life. So in order to achieve this kind of human and intellectual progress, because the core of the Renaissance, is to build a human being intellectually and also in terms of knowledge, so that he would able to contribute with changes. He would make changes, and with these changes, he would contribute in the rebuilding of his own society. All right. It started in Italy, in northern Italy. I'll be talking about why. I'll give you the reasons why northern Italy. All right. So starting in northern Italy, this intellectual movement would cause an explosion in both writing, and also in creative art. All right. When I say rebirth in art and learning, meaning that they did not bring new subjects to focus on, to study. No, what did they do? But they were much interested in the classical thoughts, ideas, subjects of the Greeks and the Romans they had studied. All right. The main idea of those Renaissance men is that they believe that before the Middle Ages, both the Greek and Roman societies were or lived better. So during the Middle Ages, we lived in the dark ages. Why not possible go back to our heritage, our classical heritage, and to our classical heritage in order to study it again? Why not? We should benefit from, all right, we should benefit from those classical ideas, subjects, and thoughts in order to rebuild our societies. And from the study of classics, we have what is meant, all right, we have the rise or the emergence of humanism. And from humanism, we have humanities, which is a field of studying. Humanities focus on the study of classics, right? As I already said, the Renaissance men and women contributed with their innovative styles in art and literature. So both art and literature comprised the study of humanities, or the study of classics. So after studying those classical ideas and thoughts, let's say the result was a great innovative styles in artistic production in art and also in literature. Also, following the Renaissance, we have the rise of new values, which is among which the most important is the human being. Right? The focus on the individual. We cultivate a human being. All right. We build up a human being. All right. This is the core of, let's say, human resources development. You invest on building a human being intellectually and in terms of knowledge, so that in a way that you prepare him in order to take, let's say, take the lead in achievement, in achievement, and also in progress. All right. What characterizes the Renaissance? The importance of the individual. All right. We, as I have already said, we invest on cultivating, on teaching a human being, or an individual, because he is supposed to make the difference and bring a change in a world. Having an intellectual man means that he would be able later on to make the society a better place of living. Also, the focus is on celebrating human achievements. We value human achievement, and also cutting the, let's say, cutting the, or making a clear cut distinction between what is religious and what is worldly. And here, the rise of, as a result of the Renaissance, the rise of secularism, which means people more interested in the world rather than in the religious way of life. We're no more interested in, let's say, being pious, eating not much food and so on. I'm not interested in getting into heaven. I'm interested in the here and now. All right. As I have already said, the most important value which rose at that remote times was the focus on the individual. So the Renaissance, helped to achieve a universal man and women, meaning that a Renaissance man at that remote times would be well educated, because being well educated meant at that remote times that you were expected to create art. Meaning, in other words, a Renaissance man should excel in all areas of study. He should master them. All right. Being a teacher is not enough. No, being a teacher, I'll explain it in other words. Being a teacher is not enough, because you're not supposed to help make society better. What you should do, in addition to being a teacher, you should be also a writer. You should be a poet. You should know how to play sports and so on. All right. And these ideas were expressed in the Courtier. All right, a work of a Renaissance writer commonly known as Baldassare Castiglione in 1528, in which he showed how to become such a person, meaning that he focused on a human being, how to enjoy luxuries, how to eat well, how to be well educated in classics, how to be charming, how to dress well, and so on. So these were the most important thing, the most important aspects of a Renaissance man. Should know everything, should know how to eat, how to dance, how to drink, how to dress well, how to study well, uh, and also as an example, we have Leonardo da Vinci, one of the most important Renaissance men. So he was not only a painter, he was also an engineer, and he was also a poet. All right. In addition to Renaissance men, we have Renaissance women. Renaissance women, according to Castiglione in his book, The Courtier, they were also expected to enjoy life, to be more, let's say, to be more, to be, let's say, to be more and better than medieval women. They also were expected to, let's say, to excel in many aspects of life, in many areas of study, like their men counterparts. All right. As I already said, Italy, or northern Italy, let's say, witnessed the rise of the Renaissance. What were the main reasons why in Italy as such? Why in northern Italy the Renaissance started? Well, there were many. Let's say there were many reasons. Generally speaking, I summarized them into three main reasons. Italy, as we know, and as we have already started in semester 1, was the center of the Roman Empire. So Italy, all over Italy, or all the city-states in Italy, let's say, was surrounded by ruins and arts, which reminded them of the past. Also, it was only natural that they became interested in the Greek and Roman arts, and they tried to make their own art as good. So they started to study, all right, since they were surrounded by ruins and arts all over Italy. So they started studying them because they were part of their classics. So they started, all right, they started studying them in order to make their own literature and artistic production. So from studying those old Roman and Greek classics, they invented, or they came out with their own artistic or innovative styles in literature and also in art. Another reason was the rise of small city-states. Remember, Italy at that remote times was not a unified country, was not unified kingdom, no. So it was divided into small city-states, like Florence, Venice, Genoa, Milan, and Rome. So these were the most important city-states of the Renaissance. Those city-states were governed not by ordinary people, but by powerful families. It means the government was in the hand of powerful families. And these were, excuse me, all right. And these were, as I have already said, these were, let's say, those strong families would, let's say, would offer to pay painters, sculptors, architects, and artists to produce their own works. All right. Excuse me, I was given just 40 minutes in the software. All right, I'm gonna stop here. Tomorrow we'll carry on. Tomorrow I will carry on lecturing the rest of the Renaissance. I have also a video which is uploaded in my Google Drive in addition to this video, and I will make them available to you as a reference. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your attendance, and we'll meet tomorrow in the same time. Okay, bye.
Yes.